Welcome, everyone, to Yarn Slingers.
Today's theme is Dreams and Revelations, and it is with great pleasure that I introduce Mark Dunau.
Make your mark. My father was a brilliant and very difficult man. He dropped dead at 54. In his short lifetime, however, as a sole practitioner, he argued about 15 cases in the United States Supreme Court, shaping most of what's left of today's labor union protections. His staff was a part-time secretary. My father was also a manic depressive, his moods alternating between ebullience and horror. He channeled his depression in part by writing his briefs to requiems. 20 years after his death, he came to me in a dream as a leaping madman. My reaction was to jump out of bed and scream, "Get out of my life, take your car with you, and leave my son alone." 2 days later, while visiting friends on the Delaware River, I heard my wife scream, "He's going to die! He's going to die!" I rushed outside and saw children leaping from my father's '69 Cutlass convertible, but not my young son, Bera. The Cutlass flew down the hill and disappeared. In my mind's eye, I could see that only a narrow road separated Bera from a cliff. I charged down the hill. The Cutlass was stopped in the road. Its rear turned up nearly 90 degrees from its impact into a ditch, but no Bera. Then Bera jumped out of the brush with an enormous snake in each hand and declared, "Look what I found, Daddy." My father had taken his car and left my son alone. My father's second dream appearance was 4 years later. He calmly stated, "It's time to make your mark." When I awoke, I knew what to do: run for Congress. Over the next 3 months, I wrote 10 declarations and founded Rural Party. My broad perspective was that rural America was being ignored. It was time for rural Americans to rise up against corporate rule, unjust trade agreements, and environmental degradation. I distributed 15,000 copies of my declarations by leaving the farm on weekends and walking the 195-mile length of my congressional district. 10 declarations ended with, "The vandals have the handles. Write in Mark Dunau." I received 50 votes. But I learned a lot of politics, and over the next 2 years became a voice in the Green Party. At the New York Green Party convention, I declared my candidacy for U.S. Senate nominee. There was a stalemate, forcing a statewide primary. Not surprisingly, I was a long shot, but I studied the voter demographics of the Green Party and concluded that if I carried Long Island and rural New York, I would win. So I walked the lengths of Long Island and got press. Primary day came. I lost the big cities, but carried rural New York and Long Island. I was declared the Green Party nominee for U.S. Senate. My big opposition was now Hillary Clinton and Rick Lazio. I lost, receiving 40,991 votes. But I loved giving speeches across New York State, including 1 to 20,000 raging fans of Ralph Nader at Madison Square Garden. Part of it went like this: "Today, the American people face a crisis of identity and extinction. The federal government is of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporations. Rick Lazio and Hillary Clinton are corporate lawyers. New York State needs a corporate lawyer like it needs a hole in the head as its next U.S. senator. Today, many self-employed people and small businesses are going bankrupt because they have to abide by the same rules and regulations as multinational corporations. This is the fist of tyranny. Genetically engineered food, unlabeled and devoid of safety testing. This is the fist of tyranny. 50% of the people here tonight will develop cancer in their lifetimes. This is the fist of tyranny. Importing goods created from nations where union organizing is illegal. This is the fist of tyranny. The war on drugs is a war on our civil liberties and a race war on African Americans. This is the fist of tyranny. My father, Bernard Dunau, believed that striking a blow for freedom was the greatest privilege life had to offer. He also had this advice: hang on to your heart.